On a spring day 10 years ago, a 41-year-old Australian man named Julian Assange dressed up as a motorcycle delivery man. He dyed his hair, put colored contacts in his eyes, and even put a rock in his shoe so that he would walk differently than normal. He was sure he was being followed by dark government forces that were attempting to capture him and send him to the United States to be locked up. He showed up here, to the Embassy of Ecuador in central London. Once inside this embassy, he wouldn't be on British soil anymore. No one could barge in here and grab him. He'd be safe. It's called political asylum. Oh, and by the way, this isn't actual footage of Julian Assange in 2012.
Action? You're great.
This is an actor. We did a reenactment of this whole thing. Anyway. Assange did make it inside that day, and after entering the Ecuadorian embassy in London, he wouldn't leave it for 7 years. Testing 1, 2, 3. I've been looking at a lot of this. I've actually started hanging up the documents over here because they've been taking up too much space. I want to tell you the story of Julian Assange.
This guy's a traitor.
I love WikiLeaks.
This is a blow to transparency and a blow to a free press.
What this story is like an expression of a new kind of power. The power of secrets, of information.
An anti-war online organization attacking U.S. policy in Afghanistan.
And the reason I'm calling what Julian Assange does power is because the US is trying to lock him up for 175 years because of what he did. It's all here in this indictment. The most powerful country in the world feels threatened by this man and what he's done. I want to take you through Julian Assange's story and then to unpack why the United States is trying to lock him up for the rest of his life. And I want to persuade you that no matter what you think of Julian Assange and his conduct and his ethics and his mission, this case should not be ignored.
Illegally shoot somebody.
Get Assange to Sweden and hang on to him.
Crazy Horse 1-855 to 6 individuals with AK-47s.
You never know what the outcome is, but the truth is always the best place to start.
Come on, fire!
Okay, wait, before we dive into this video, I want to thank today's sponsor because the sponsors are the people who make these videos possible. Allow me to do this as my job. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring today's video. If you don't know what a VPN is, it's kind of just like an all-around protective tool that you don't actually see or interact with very much. It works in the background. A VPN allows you to connect to the internet, but via a different country, so that you can encrypt and protect your connection, but also so that you can access things that you might not be able to access in your country. An example is entertainment. Like there are things available in the UK on Netflix that are not available here in the US, but with a VPN, I can connect and get access to all of that content. Also, it works the other way. I'm traveling a lot more lately, and when I'm in a different country, my computer and all the things I'm logged into kind of freak out because they think I'm like a hacker from somewhere else. So I connect to a server in the United States, and my internet thinks I'm in the United States and they don't kick me out of like my Gmail. It's not complicated to connect. You don't have to be like technical or like understand how it works. You just press a button and you're connected. Oh, and recently, NordVPN is not just a VPN anymore. They have this whole new threat protection system. It blocks malware, it blocks trackers, it blocks malicious ads. It allows you to surf the internet much more safely. This is a very affordable tool, and if you want to get in on it, do us both a favor and go to nordvpn.com/JohnnyHarris where you can get an exclusive deal to get a great deal on a VPN. Oh, and the best part is, if you don't like it or if it's not useful to you, you can get your money back within 30 days. So go check it out, go see if it works for your life, makes your life better. nordvpn.com/JohnnyHarris. Thank you, NordVPN, for supporting the videos that I do. I really appreciate it. Now let's get back into the story. Okay, let's get up to speed really quickly on who this guy even is and how he ended up trapped in an embassy in London. Julian Assange is an Australian hacker who spent most of his life breaking into computers and getting his hands on information that he wasn't supposed to see, but that he believed the world should see. When he was 35, he built a website where whistleblowers of all kinds could upload sensitive information that he, Julian Assange, on his new website would publish. And the upside of all of this was that these whistleblowers would remain totally anonymous. He claimed that even he wouldn't know who his sources were. So that was 2006. Julian Assange builds WikiLeaks. And soon after, he starts receiving submissions. Like, people start giving him documents that are supposed to be secret, and he starts publishing them. Everything from drone strikes in Yemen, to oil scandals in Peru, to corruption in the Arab world, Tibetan uprisings in China. Leaks like this sort of seem common to us now, but this was like 2007. WikiLeaks was a totally new thing. It was this open source intelligence website acting in the name of no government, with no location, but with this very idealistic vision of making the world's information totally transparent, exposing corruption, exposing government secrets.
Understand how far you can push government into doing something that is just by exposing injustice.
But WikiLeaks wasn't really noticed until 2010, when something happened that would change everything. In Iraq, there was a 22-year-old American intelligence analyst named Chelsea Manning. Horrified by what she was seeing, she decided to download hundreds of thousands of classified documents from military computers and upload them directly to WikiLeaks.
Of course, our top story this morning, the White House blasting the release of over 90,000 U.S. military records.
It was the biggest leak in history. And this is the stuff we've been looking through over the past few weeks. Hundreds of thousands of classified documents containing never-before-seen details on how the U.S. conducts its war, its diplomacy, its intelligence. I mean, let me show you some of this stuff. Now, let me just do a quick disclaimer here. Going through these leaks, there is a lot of horrific stuff, stuff I just don't even want to talk about here. I'll go over it kind of in vague terms and let you go read the rest. But war is horrible, and what these documents reveal is like a detailed version of that.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
In these leaks, we learn about secret raids. We read about scenes of US military people executing Iraqi families. We also get a lot of data. The US military claimed that it wasn't keeping track of deaths in Iraq, but these leaks showed that they actually were, and that the number of casualties, including civilian deaths, was actually way higher than anyone thought before. The leaks also revealed this classified footage that, again, I'm not going to show all of it here, or even the worst parts.
There's more that keep walking by, and one of them has a weapon. Sullivan, copy at White 6. That's a weapon.
It shows a US helicopter firing on a group of Iraqis who they thought were insurgents, but was really just a family, including children, walking with two Reuters journalists.
Hotel 26 is Crazy Horse 18.
They were carrying cameras, not guns.
Request permission to engage. Come on, let us shoot.
And yet in this video, you see them open fire on these people.
You are free to engage, over. What's the baseline? Let me know when you get it. We'll shoot. Light them all up. Come on, fire. Hey, Roger. Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards. Nice. Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle. That's right.
You read about this scene where an Apache helicopter is flying over some insurgents in a house who are surrendering. They're coming out of their house with their hands up. And yet the Apache helicopter gets the clearance to fire on them. And their justification is, according to this leaked log, you're not allowed to surrender to aircraft. They're still valid targets. I mean, it's horrendous. As a journalist, I'm skeptical. I'm like, okay, these are like 2 or 3 bad apples. Is this what we're staring at? But no, through these leaks, you see that 15,000 civilians were killed in previously unknown incidents. 15,000. These documents reveal a culture and a system of abuse and torture in Iraq, mostly by the Iraqi military and army, that the US military knew about but did nothing to solve. And the only reason why we know about it now is because Chelsea Manning gave WikiLeaks all of these documents. There's one Department of State leak from the embassy in Belgium that shows that the US tried to pressure Belgium into taking some of the prisoners from Guantanamo Bay in order to curry favor with the US. You see the US being like, hey Belgium, take some of these Guantanamo prisoners. It's a low-cost way for Belgium to attain prominence in Europe. Like it's backroom deals, exchanging Guantanamo prisoners for political favors. We would have not known any of this had these leaks not come out. All of this turned out to be a very grim insight into how the US is conducting its wars. And unsurprisingly, after these giant leaks came out in 2000,